Hey, Athon authors and fans. Today is a good day for female lead box sets, and we have Levi Werner with us today. His World of Magic series has over 1,700 reviews with just 2 books, so we're excited to talk to him about his latest book in the series, which is out today, and rejoice with him in the success that he's been seeing. So, first off, we're going to talk Gaia Files, the complete box set series. So Gaia Files is urban fantasy. People compare it sort of to Buffy the Vampire Slayer by R.J. Sierra. She's a private investigator. So I'm just going to read the first paragraph description. Private investigator Gaia Charmer brings new meaning to the words Earth Angel. This mysterious and bipolar bombshell has the power of the Earth itself at her fingertips, but the murder of her best friend knocks her world off its axis. Out for blood on a killer's trail, Gaia and a tough-as-nails sheriff must overcome Landkind, a secret society of movers and shakers with influence over earthly landforms, and a vicious enemy with the key to her true identity. So Gaia Files, the complete box set, out today. Go check it out. We also have Safe Zone, another female-led complete series. So this one's post-apocalypse in the zombie genre. Suzanne Sussex. The virus sweeps across South America. The world is on high alert. It's coming for us. A video hits the internet and quickly goes viral. A video showing a woman attacked, bitten, and dying before rising again. Experts confirm the video as a fake, a prank. But all the expert denials count for nothing when the virus reaches the UK. Chloe finds herself left behind, abandoned by Steve, who rejoins the army and fights with the new enemy. She'll be forced to survive on her own, whatever it takes. They must all make sacrifices to do what is right before the greater good. Next, we have Killbox. This is book 9 in the Drop Trooper series by Rick Partlow. Most of you should know him. He writes some amazing stuff in military sci-fi. So you've pretty much got guarantees with this one. Killbox, book 9. Cam Alvarez is lost in the depth of the galaxy, and the only way home is through a horde of alien monsters. Cam and the others in the task force have followed Xanthant through the predecessor gateway to another spiral arm of the galaxy. There they are stranded unless they can find another of the gateways. Following the trail of the predecessors who fled our space millennia ago, they discover one last lost civilization after another, but will they find the predecessors? So Killbox is, that is a thoroughly developed series being on book 9. So go ahead and take a look at Drop Trooper series. And of course, now we have the pleasure of having Levi join us to talk about World of Magic. Levi, welcome.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So book 3 is released today, Marsdain, and we have some really interesting questions. I've heard great things about the magic system. I've heard great things about the series, and this is Gamelit. So this is a guy. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the main character and the world of magic?
So the main character, Lox, is paralyzed in our world, and he's offered the opportunity to go fully into this other virtual world where he can once again have a body that functions. And the series starts off with him on his own, kind of exploring and learning a lot of the systems. I'll admit the first little bit of the first book is a lot of details thrown at the readers because I'm like building my magic system. It's one of the most important things I feel for my world. I wanted a magic system that makes sense. And so then obviously the first book continues on, and you just get to watch him go through his adventures in the game World of Magic.
Yeah. So I think I love the cover of this one. It's fantastic. It's I love seeing the back of heroes looking at the landscape. There's something about that just captures your imagination. And we have Fernando watching, who designed the cover. Great job, Fernando. This one almost looks like a guy. This looks like, almost a sailor. I guess that's him in a skyship, just looking at his new destination.
That's actually him aboard the Audacious, which is his brigantine. It's his sailing ship right now. So
awesome. I remember being a huge fan of Sky Pirates series, animes or video games when I was a kid. I forget the name of the game that I played, but it was specifically about Sky Pirates. That's kind of where this kind of takes me in my vision. So the world of magic, you're three books in, so there's got to be some development here that you can go into that's not spoilery. What's kind of the feel of going on? Is it overcoming adversity? Is it just a level up grind?
It's a little bit of watching the world coming to life. So like the lore behind it, which is explained in the first book, is that the world was created and the creator couldn't bring true intelligent life. And so he essentially created really advanced AIs and then struck a deal with the creator of our universe to bring humans over to seed his universe of intelligent life. And so the NPCs around are slowly becoming more aware and more like self-aware.
Yeah.
And so that's really what the story is about. There's obviously the big bad and the driving conflict of the story. So there's essentially another form of self-awareness coming to the universe, but it's like a madness one that the heroes are trying to fight against and trying to
Mm.
control. But that's really not, at this point in the story, not the focal points of it. It's there, but it's like the underlying force that they're fighting against.
Yeah. Yeah. So what made you fall in love? What made you decide that Gamelit was a genre that you wanted to write in?
There's a lot of small things really. Like I love the the I'm very creative, and so I love the structure that Gamelit gives. That it's like,
Mm.
okay, it's very. I tried writing a regular fantasy, and my world just grew out of control. So with Gamelit, it gives me boundaries to work inside. I love the community, honestly, with it. For the most part, is a very like understanding, acceptive, inclusive community that's like been great for like me learning how to write in, because
Mhm.
so much of, especially this first series, is me learning what it means to write because it's new to me. I'm an engineer by schooling, not a writer.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that too. There's a loss of inclusivity in the truest term. It's like it's okay to have varying ideas
Hmm.
and it spans the world. Therefore, it's understandable that you have different viewpoints. And
Hmm.
I've enjoyed seeing that. It's almost it's almost like when you see like when I was in high school, it wasn't cool to like anime. It wasn't cool to like be a geek, a nerd.
Hmm.
But when you find those people who are in there, they just welcome everybody and
Yeah.
anybody who's interested. They're like, we just want you to enjoy what we enjoy, and that's sort of taken over the sphere, over the
Yeah.
world. And I think a ton of those people are into lit RPG and
It,
the game lit
it's no
sphere.
longer a stigma to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, yeah, I've quite enjoyed it. There's my diorama of minis behind
Yeah, I
me.
was noticing those. I have a
So
printer for printing my own. They're pretty cool.
I have an Ender 3D printer that I'd say maybe about a third of those are 3D printed behind me. So it's been a lot of fun. And then of course I've got my young boys that
Yeah.
I'm play little games with as well. So as an author, you obviously have made a fantastic magic system. As an author, what advice would you give to someone that's trying to craft a magic system? What are some of the keys that you saw as being important?
Um, so I guess to answer that, the best way to explain is why I created my system. I hate hand wavy magic. I don't like it when authors are like magic, blah blah blah. It works. I'm like, I want to know why it works because you're breaking physics. So I say the first thing when creating a magic system is focus on having an explanation for how physics is broken, like what's going on. You don't have to necessarily explain it to the reader, but have in your head what behind the scenes is going on and why does it work, and then stay consistent to those truths and build your magic system from there up.
Hmm.
So it will never, you start your fundamentals and you build it from there. If you have this crazy idea for a crazy spell, don't start by making the spell, start by making the mechanics that are going to make that spell work, because you want to have a consistency through your magic system that then can extrapolate out and do anything you want it to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think I ran into that I started writing and I just wrote and just kept on writing. And then I'm coming back and I'm adding layers. And then now I really am scrutinizing my magic system, because I started with D&D almost as a plug-in to get
Hmm.
some of this story out, because it's more slice of life. It's more about the character. But with a slice of life, you kind of do have to have the magic be the interesting stuff. The upgrades are the interesting part of a slice of life that
Hmm.
RPG. And so I've been really scrutinizing my magic system and thinking I need to expound upon this and go deeper, so that when he breaks the system, someone said, there was a famous musician who said, "It's like I learn music theory so that I know how to, so I can get out of the way and break the rules correctly,
Yes.
so that when the music shows up, I don't get in the way." And so you've got to have a system in order to break the system, to create the exploits, to explain why
Hmm.
your character is powerful. And if you can't convince the reader that you know why that's actually happening, I think you lose some power, lose some magic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It takes away like some of the suspension of disbelief. They're like, well, that doesn't make sense.
yeah, yeah. So have just enough information that says I have a plan and it's following a plan,
Hmm.
because I absolutely hate it. I hate it when a story looks like it's like the reader didn't know what he was doing, and
The
I guess
author.
it's the responsibility of authors, or the writer doesn't know what he's doing. It's the responsibility of writers to go back and kind of plant the seeds that say, I know
Yeah.
what I'm doing, even though I came up with it in book 3. so,
Right.
uh, so so that's good. So what's next? I know, have you completed book 4?
I
Is there a full
am like
series?
30,000 words into book 4.
Okay.
Through the holidays, it was hard to stay on my writing schedule, but I'm working with Dragon, the voice to text software, because I have fewer errors when I can dictate. And so I'm trying to learn that. And once I get it back under me, I'll have the next book knocked out in a couple of months.
How many books are planned for the series?
Well, right now, just 4, but ideally, there'd be another 5 books.
Oh,
And
wow.
then there's also another 3-book series that I am working on.
Sort of
That
an arc completion here with book 4,
Yes,
and
this is an arc completion of the first major story arcs.
oh,
There
that's cool.
there'll be a time skip between the end of book 4 and the start of book 5.
Yeah. So we have Locke. Is there any other main characters that come into play?
Right now your main ones are Felix, Cleopatra, Xerxes, Vanessa, and Saul.
Wow.
Vanessa and Saul are the only different ones. Vanessa was an NPC. Well, she is an NPC, and Saul is something called a soul AI, which I, he's a floating conglomeration of cubes that's super smart, basically,
Okay.
and can go in and out of something called the mindscape.
That's crazy. It kind of feels like you have almost a sort of a traditional fantasy feel that starts to spin off into these different angles.
Hmm.
So I like it, and I say it every time. I've got to add it to my list, my massive, ever-growing list of books.
I
That
think we all have one of those.
it's funny, because I've got my ones that I want to listen to, and then I've got the ones that I've got to get on formatted and completed, and now
Yeah.
I've got to edit audiobooks and listen through books that I normally wouldn't be on my list, but I
Hmm.
enjoy anyway, because they're all Athon, and
Entertainment.
so yeah, I do a lot of military sci-fi, and I didn't find myself in that genre, and now I'm finding myself liking some of it, and it's like, oh no, now I'm gonna have a double my list right there.
Yeah. I
From
love
beginning.
military sci-fi. It's like what got me into reading.
Yeah, Ender's Game. Ender's Game is, I'd say, the thing that made me say, oh, these books can be really, really cool. And I don't know how to plug Ender's Game into a genre, because it feels almost psychological thriller uh,
Yeah,
in some ways.
it's a mixture of a lot of genres, I think.
Yeah, and it's what made me think. I was like, the key to making a good book is making the reader feel smart. And I felt smart when I was reading that book. And then I find out, I was like, no, that is not the key to a good book, but it is one. So
Yes, it helps.
that's good. That's good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and very excited for your new book and the continuation of your series. And we're very excited that you've had so much success so far. And
Well, thanks for having me.
cheers to your continued success. And yeah, Aethon Authors and fans, thank you for joining us. And look out for these series that come out, especially World of Magic. So we'll talk to you again next week. And hopefully we'll talk to you again on another release day. So have a good one.